According to historians and constitutional scholars, it may be one of the most dangerous developments in modern American politics. Welcome to American News Trust. I'm Steele Black. Historians and constitutional scholars contend that a weak, soft vice president who never challenges the president is one of the most dangerous developments in politics today. Now, while this is precisely what former VP Mike Pence did in Trump's first administration, Trump's second administration has been far more extreme, and Vice President JD Vance's silent complicity is abominable. Trump is bombing and murdering innocent people on boats off the coast of Venezuela without any justifiable cause. Trump is cruelly imprisoning immigrants without due process and shipping them off in chains to death prisons in El Salvador. He's boldly violating the Epstein Act that he signed by redacting and removing files, likely just to protect guess who? Literally threatening land grabs and wars against our very own allies, openly supporting aggressors in their illegal wars against victim nations, ripping apart our government with absurd, loathsome policies that directly affect the health and well-being of the American people, even waging war using ICE and the military against our own people and the cities we live in. Yet not a word from JD Vance. What happened to the 25th Amendment? As Vice President, it is JD Vance's job to declare the president unfit and obtain at least one-half of the cabinet vote under the 25th Amendment and remove the president. Now, some of you may say, well, I don't know if you can show that the president is unfit under the 25th Amendment. The man is literally waging war against American cities. He's killing innocent people on boats with no proof whatsoever of wrongdoing and just lying about it. He's ripping away our national security leaders, leaving our national security agencies blind to fatal attacks. There's absolutely no question that Donald Trump is unfit for office. This requires far more than silence, more than pushback. It requires impeachment, removal, and criminal prosecution, or just, in JD Vance's case, the 25th Amendment. But instead, and just like Mike Pence, nothing. Nothing at all but silence. Now, if you like our content, please subscribe, like, and share. Our small new channel needs your support. And so today, the vice presidency is treated as a formality. The vice president never breaks rank. He simply stays firmly in line, never to ruffle feathers. But this wasn't always the case with vice presidents. Before the ratification of the 12th Amendment in 1804, the candidate who won the most electoral votes became the president. But it was the runner-up in that election who became the vice president, even if the two were political enemies. In other words, conflict was built into the system. It was a check on the president. It wasn't considered bad. It was considered necessary. Imagine if Trump had no choice but to have Kamala Harris as his VP today. Do you think she'd take a shot at the 25th Amendment after what Trump has done? And that's how it's supposed to be. However, with the 12th Amendment, presidential candidates were allowed to choose their own running mate. But surprisingly, some of the most significant clashes between presidents and VPs occurred after the 12th Amendment. John C. Calhoun, vice president to both John Quincy Adams and Andrew Jackson, openly fought with the administration over states' rights, tariffs, and nullification. Aaron Burr, serving under Thomas Jefferson, frequently undermined Jefferson politically and even entertained plans to form a separate Western territory. John Nance Garner, vice president under Franklin D. Roosevelt, opposed FDR's court-packing plan and blocked portions of the New Deal. Even Richard Nixon, as Dwight D. Eisenhower's vice president, publicly distanced himself from administration policies to establish his own political identity. These vice presidents were not removed because a president cannot fire a vice president. Only Congress has that authority. So the question is, what changed? At one time, the vice presidency functioned as a constitutional counterweight. Over time, the VP's independence faded from the job. Loyalty to the president became the job. Opposition to the president was now taboo. The vice presidency transformed from being a safeguard or check on the president into forced unity with the president. And VP freeloaders like Mike Pence and JD Vance became the norm. That shift may have worked in saner times, but that's just not the case today. And in fact, when JD Vance does speak up, he helps Trump blame the victimized country, Ukraine, for being attacked by the aggressor, Russia. And while Trump cruelly acts as a corrupt mediator between Israel and Gaza, JD Vance supports Trump in the bolstering of Israel with weapons, as well as Trump's dream to make Gaza into a resort on the water. And this alone is incapacity for a United States president. It's possibly incapacity with respect to JD Vance. The Constitution will not enforce itself, but clearly Neither do spineless people. It depends on people, especially those closest to power, who have courage and who say no. Today, America needs a silent vice president like it needs a nuclear war. It does not need ignorant and cowardice blind loyalty. It needs vigilant constitutional pushback against a disturbed, dishonorable, and corrupt regime, because in moments of crisis, going along with a hateful, incompetent, destructive administration is just what happened with Hitler in the 1930s. Please subscribe.